episode of the Pink Table Talk. My name is Dana Johnson. I'm your host, and joining me today is Marcel and Tamott Wolverton. And we are doing a special, The Pink Table Talk Goes Red in the month of February, Love Story. So thank you for joining me, you two.
Thank you for having us.
So let's just dive right in. I see some beautiful pictures in the background that shares an image of your love story. Can you tell me a little bit about how the two of you met?
Through a running group, actually, back in Detroit. Come to find out, we were part of the same running group, which we had no idea we both were members of.
Wonderful. So I'll just give a little bit of backstory. So I met Tamott when he was working with WTMJ4 in Milwaukee, and he would often share stories about you and the anticipation of your arrival in Milwaukee. So we all wanted to know from Black Girls Run who you were and when you would finally arrive and to actually get a chance to finally meet you. And when we did, as if the story goes, like it was just love at first sight because you were just a beautiful, presence of fresh air. So what was it like for you coming from Michigan to Milwaukee and following along within just your love story?
I was a little nervous, to be honest, coming from Detroit to Milwaukee. But Tamott did a wonderful job of making sure that I was comfortable, aligning me with you guys, people that I could, know and have something in common with, which was running. And that helped. That did help. So I do appreciate that. He did a lot of planning to make sure that I was comfortable.
So Tamott, from your perspective, what was it that sparked your interest when you first saw her beautiful face?
You want the truth, the whole truth, or pseudo truth?
We are trying to inspire the masses through Black love. So you share as you will.
I'm going to tell the truth. So when I first met Marcel, I didn't know who she was. Wasn't even interested per se. We had a mutual friend that was a runner, and I posted on his page, and then she sent maybe liked something. Then we started communicating back and forth, and then that just kind of got us kind of getting to know each other. But then I put her to the test. I was working out and running, and went out to King High School, the track, and I had out there sprinting, lifting, and doing all this other stuff. So she passed the test. We didn't go to nothing fancy for dinner. We just went to kind of a little diner. We went there, ate, and then that just kind of developed more into a friendship. But it was basically, I made her uncomfortable. She had never had anybody in her space, stretching her, running her, making her tired, but that's what our meet and greet was. It was some simple thing, and it's let's see what this is all about. We just got closer and closer through running and that part. So as we got closer to each other, I was leaving Detroit. Then I put it out there. It's I'm leaving. I didn't have plans to stay here, but I'm leaving. It was nice meeting you. Thank you for your friendship and everything, but I'm leaving. Well, she wanted to do a long distance relationship. I don't think that's going to work. I don't know if I want to do it. So she tried it. Planes, trains, automobiles. It was tough. Then it's after a year, let's see whether this works. Then once that year came, then she moved to the unknown. Left her family, everything, to basically come be with me. That's how that kind of happened, and it still was developing because I really didn't know her. I knew her from the weekends coming up that we spent time, a couple days together. Even in Michigan, we weren't around each other every day. So it wasn't until coming to Milwaukee that we were starting to know each other. to learn what I like, don't like, the good, the bad, all that other stuff. It came when we were finally together, 24/7. So that was a big adjustment, for both, you know.
Wow. So, for those of you who don't know, that's within our viewing audience, the running group they spoke of is under the Black Girls Run and Black Men Run, and they are spread out throughout across the country. There are various running groups, and when Tamott came to Milwaukee, we had an opportunity to commingle the Black Men Run and the Black Women's Run, and like I said, we kind of opened them with open arms, and then we also, just from in the various running circles and things, would talk about you and anticipating, like your arrival. So it was wonderful to be able to just bridge that dynamic. But some of the other things that came out of that is another running friend of ours, Sabrina. We kind of, like how you said, just got under his spell, and he was like, hey, we get together at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and do workouts. And somehow taking out of comfort zones and doing it, I would have never thought some of the exercises and things that I saw you doing. And I'm going to be completely honest, Marcel, I was like, she is amazing, because she just rolls with whatever he said while I'm over here trying to struggle through a push-up. And you were just like in the zone. And I just really looked up to the two of you and was inspired by just your love story, that you had so many things in common. I would have never thought from what he just shared that you didn't already have that connection between the two of you that just seemed so solid when we had an opportunity to meet you. So, can you share how at this point now you both are in Chicago? How did that transpire through just your love story and following his career? Because you also have a wonderful career in its own right as a nurse. So, what kind of inspired that new transition in your life?
To Chicago?
Uh huh.
Well, we were in Milwaukee, and the opportunity presented itself for him to take a job here in Chicago. And honestly, when he asked, would you like to move to Chicago? I was like, absolutely.
I didn't want to move to Chicago. I was trying to move somewhere warm, but she wanted to come here, so that's why we're here.
Okay.
But the beauty of, or I should say, what's an opportunity or thankful for me to have. I like you said, you mentioned I am a registered nurse, and I do have a job that's in demand, and I'm able to move from different states. It's just a matter of applying for the licensure to get to a new state. So the transition to Chicago was a no-brainer to me. And when you are in love, it worked out. And I wanted to, live in Chicago. I'd never lived, I should say, in Chicago. Visited months, lots of times. We do our running races here in Chicago, the Big Ten, just different races, and just visiting what was that? The Taste of Chicago. So,
Okay.
yeah, it was, again, a no-brainer to be able to follow LOVE when, he has done a whole lot to make me feel comfortable, to show me how much he loves me, and, puts us both, in the forefront of planning and in love.
And the transition to Chicago was like 2 months. So I left Milwaukee. I was here for 2 months, had to get us established. She was back in Milwaukee, coming back and forth through the weekdays, weeknights, so it still was time, even though I was an hour and a half away, we wasn't seeing each other every day. It still took a transition to move down here to Chicago from Milwaukee. So there, once again, we were apart and had to figure it out. So the move here was a little bit different, might have been a little bit more complicated because Milwaukee was smaller, familiar with that. That's her first time being away from Detroit. Got comfortable with Milwaukee. It was easy, simple. Come here, we had to navigate through millions of people. So it was to the drawing board, trying to set things up, you know, so we didn't know what the unknown was going to be. I kind of, but then for, you know, wife had to figure it out, had to do that coaching. And then it was the uncomfortable, out of the comfort zone. So it's taken a lot of trust. It's taken more trust basically to be here in Chicago because there's more responsibility, more moving pieces, you know, so we still hanging in there, chipping away at it, you know, so it may not be as easy as what others say, but you know, you got to put in the work, you know, and make it happen to the best of your ability. Has there been arguments, fussing and all that? Yeah. You know, we find a way to get, you know, through all that. So I look at it, we're just ordinary people. I'm a country boy, she's a city girl. You know, we have, you know, meshed both of those, you know, together to, you know, to make it work.
So, as I look at the pictures behind you and we talk about the transitions that you all made from Detroit to Milwaukee to now Chicago, tell us how you got to the happily ever after side of the equation, to the I do's.
She lived in a fairy tale anyway, but now go ahead. We made a fairy tale come reality. But
Because that's the inspirational story that, you know, that people want to hear. Like, you know, she traveled and took a leap of faith to meet you in a foreign city in Milwaukee, and then from there to Chicago. Did you always know in the back of your mind that he was the one, Marcel?
I'm gonna interject really quick, and she can answer. When you said the leap of faith, when we was in Milwaukee, I told her, it's like, well, hey, you skydive and jump out that plane and trust and do that. We would have been well before this happily ever after. She wouldn't do it. She was scared, but we gave it a little time so she didn't have to jump out and do that leap of faith. But she did it in a different way. But she was scared. She didn't trust me.
Oh, it's not jumping out of the plane. It's such a
That's a leap of faith right there.
Now you made me forget what? I'm sorry.
So he said that you were like within the fairy tale, and we both know that your wedding day was based upon fairy tales. Did you always know that this was going to be your happily ever after with Tamott, and it was going to be the fairy tale that you had envisioned?
You know, honestly, when we had our first date, our meeting date, if you will, we went to the track and meeting. He said, "Okay, it was a meet and greet. It was a meet and greet." We went to the track and just the workout that we did, the running and everything, to find someone that matched my energy.
Okay.
I was like, okay, this is nice. Somebody that works out and runs, because I was already in shape. And to be someone that can want to run and do all those things was a win-win. And we, you know, went to breakfast at a little place which has great food. And we actually went back there last year, I think it was, back in December. And I was like, oh, okay, this right here, he is the one.
I didn't match your energy. I think you matched mine. I raised the bar. I raised it up. She was used to this. I raised it up. She had no choice but to.
He definitely elevated.
Okay.
Elevated, doing things that I wasn't doing, as far as lifting the weights, but as far as, you know, running and things like that. Yes, he did. And so the energy, the saying the like, and versus other people who, okay, you are athletic and you work out, and then your partner is not. If that makes sense. So that was mine. He calls it a fairy tale. I don't know if I would say fairy tale, but I knew what I liked and what, you know, when meeting him and things that we would do together, I loved. So it was easy for me to want to be with him.
Wonderful.
I was hard. I wasn't easy. I made her work for it. I made her, because I was the wild, adventurous guy who was jumping off doing things, but she tested herself to go and do all that. So then I did promise to her, I'm like, well, this is new, we're older. It was like, I'm gonna give you the years that I gave to other people. So all this other stuff, that energy, because there's gonna come a day then we have to look back like, oh, when we was what, 40, 42, 40, all those kind of things, that's what we did. So going back to trust, when we first met, I had a passport, she didn't. So I told her to get a passport. Well, she went and got the passport. So I asked her where was she going? And she's like, well, where are we going? I'm like, we're not going anywhere. I'm like, you go where you want to go. So then we had barely known each other for 6 months. And we was on the plane off to Jamaica, still not knowing each other, but then still figuring out and finding out. I was like, man, do I really like her? She snores, she does all that. But that was just the funny part that, yeah, she did jump out there on trust, because then family's like, well, who is that? Who is this woman that you're going over there with? Okay. And it all worked out, and she was all for it, just, I guess, taking a risk, because nothing was guaranteed when moved to Milwaukee. There's nothing was guaranteed with that, but stuck through it, because that was a whole year of every other weekends, travel nightmares, all that other kind of stuff that then we worked through all of that. So it just happened to be the happily ever after that. When you look at the big picture, that's what it turned out to be. When you go back and look at all that we had to, what we had to go through. So I appreciate you all looking at it through a certain lens, and what we had to do and what we still have to do in these chapters and journeys. And I look at it and tell people like, well, if we did it, you can do it too. It may look a little different, may feel a little different, but it's going to work. Will it be more arguments and disagreements? Yeah, because you're away from family or whatever it is, your comfort zone. And a lot of, couples, say if you're from Milwaukee, maybe both of you, were born there, so then that's your comfort zone. But if both of you pull up and move to DC and you don't know anybody there, or don't have a support network, then that's challenging. So you all came into play when I met you all, and then you knew that she was coming, so then you all rolled out the red carpet to accept her. Same thing happened here in Chicago with the folks that I know that didn't know her, roll out the red carpet. So it's been, I guess I knew how I wanted it to look. And then she just had to follow suit and basically accept that. Everybody ain't gonna like everybody. Not to say she gonna like every woman, or she gonna like every man. It's like, well, those are my people. But no one's put us in a situation that then she don't want to be around. Time to go, time to go. All right, see y'all later. Oh, we ain't gonna make it this time. So at this point in time, I haven't had anybody say, oh, well, why is she acting funny? She gets tired. She hung. I tell it like it is, then they respect that. But other people get in their feelings about something and doesn't like someone else's spouse or whatever that be. But to my knowledge, I don't know of anybody not liking and accepting her because they, see what she does, what we're gonna do. It's always the adventure. What are you guys doing next? What are you guys eating today or whatever? So we're not any influencers, and we're just regular people who like to go out, eat, and live our lives. We're always trying to incorporate other people into that, whether you're single or couple or something. Come on, let's go out there and, make memories, make some magic of the time that we have. So then when we look back, that was that happily ever after as we, go down this journey. So.
All right, I love it. So people often kind of throw out there nowadays relationship goals. Have you all heard that? And if so, how do you respond to it?
You want to go?
We do get that a lot. Like, oh, we are the couples goals and things of that. As my husband said, we are just ordinary people. It did take a lot of sacrificing, wanting to be with each other. The planes, trains, and automobiles, traveling, planes. How many times I've had trains or plane delays where either I couldn't get to him or I was with him, I couldn't get back to back to Michigan for work, or with the distance, missing one another, and trying to be creative of how to keep the spark, if you will, how to keep that going, and just having to accept that sometimes we are just really, really sad about missing each other, and allowing ourselves to cry and express that, because that is real, as well. Did I always see that light at the end of the tunnel? No, because a long distance relationship is hard. It is hard, but we survived it, and I'm really thankful for that. I would just say, talk through it, be creative of how to show the love. I would try to plan early to get the discount tickets, for the train, or the discount tickets for the plane. There was times that he would surprise me and come back to Michigan. So I mean, it was wonderful. It was, both ways, or, here's some money, to help get you here. And, so it was just, it was a lot, but it was worth it. Would I do it again? Yes, I would, for him. Yes, I would. I have no regrets, because he shows me how much he loves me.
I love it. I love
See,
it.
I didn't have any relationship goals. I didn't. I just wanted to basically be, because I was married before, she was married before, different circumstance. We both was bringing something to the table. So I wanted to basically be who I truly was, set me for who I am. Because at the end of the day, we not like this. We kind of like some opposites on some things. A lot of that came out later, trying to get to know each other, because a lot of dynamics have changed with family life, personal life. We're a little bit older. So I'm not the same as what I was when I was 30. She not the same. But in that honeymoon stage, everything seems perfect. And we work at that now to get perfect. So I can share this story with you. When we first met back in Detroit, out of the blue, she changed it up one day and said she was becoming vegetarian. I'm like, what? I said, well, I don't want to be with a vegetarian. I'm sorry, we're breaking up. I don't want to do.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it was all new.
Yes.
It wasn't all these options on the, and I was used to eating steak, going out and doing what we was doing. And when she changed it up, I wanted nothing to do with that. I was out and like, nope, we got to end this. Well, I'll try and I'll do this. She came up with alternatives for us to eat and do all this stuff. And to this day, I will not eat that, what's that, tofu? I won't do it. But she had me trying all this other stuff, changed my whole diet and lifestyle. I wanted nothing to do with that. I'm like, you can go over there and be with somebody else who want to do that. But then it worked. And then I, was basically had a lot of things introduced into the diet and everything. I'm like, okay, this will work, but I wanted nothing to do with that. I was done. That was a deal breaker for me, because
You were smitten. Let's just admit it. You were smitten by her love, and you said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it."
that was a deal breaker. It's like, nope, not. I like eating my meat, but that was a challenging thing, because man, when we were traveling places, we got to look all over and try to find food, and I was sitting there just frustrated at that. I'm like, what did I get myself into? It felt like a person being a smoker and a non-smoker. That's how it felt to me. But with patience and figuring it out, okay, well, I know I can go over here and get this and try this. But yeah, that was a big deal for me. Big deal. See, a lot of people don't know that. Some do, but I was like, nope, not done. Sorry.
But it's a lesson learned because, like you said, a lot of people don't know that. They see what they see on social media, and people just assume, oh my God, they run together, they travel together, they're steppers, they just always seem, like everything is just so wonderful. But then there's the backstory. And those are things where people are probably struggling with now, where you said, because there's so many different food options, and either you all in or you're not. So it's wonderful that you're able to share that, and now look, how you've come full circle. So
I'm no longer vegetarian, by the
Right.
way.
But she won't eat beef though. But I'll leave it at that. So whatever that has to be, there's alternatives. But we still just regular people, just regular people who, you know, love each other. We got families, love them. We have children, grandchildren. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes back there. A lot of people don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of layers to all of this. So yes, it's fun and games, but then sometimes there's not fun and games. You know what lake effect snow is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know about lake effect snow until we was trying to go to Detroit to a Lions game. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Oh, we get out there on the highway and she saw what lake effect snow is. Changed her whole perspective. I was doing that all my life. But she had to learn those were things that she was never exposed to. And now she has a broad horizon of everything from picking strawberries and blueberries and apples that she didn't get that in Detroit. Or if it was other guys in her past, like, oh, this is what us country folks do. We go out and do this. So that kind of, maybe I was exciting. I was something different than the regular run of the mill that may have been out there. She was a little different from me. I guess I can say and be honest. She was a little bit smaller than what I was used to, and I was used to certain things. But then it's like, so okay, well, then she got strong. She was out there bench pressing, 150 pounds? Other people couldn't do that, so then it became this, we're working out in that, because every man, woman has a body type, too tall, short, whatever it was. It's like, all right, I wasn't used to someone being in shape or so-called skinny, but then it's like, you had nothing to do with it, but I had to learn that because she approached me. She showed that interest. I didn't have to go. I'll say she was more assertive. Then once that happens, I do the rest. But if someone else came to me and was assertive, unfortunately, I'll say they had a certain look. That's what I was used to, But now she got these locks that's hanging all down, and that I didn't know nothing about that. I was used to weave. I was used to certain things because that's what was presented to me. So it was different. It was different in that we didn't have to, when it was time to go somewhere, it wasn't getting flat irons and do it because I'm ready to go. It wasn't all that prepping stuff that a lot of men have to go through because we talk about all that. Not a whole bunch of makeup and all this. She was just being her. And then that helped because sometimes when it's ready to go, hey, like right now, if we want to go out somewhere, throw on some clothes, we have to do in 30 minutes. We ain't got to go through all that prep work. So she'd go out there and she is, can't say a tomboy, but she's active. She go out there running, sweating, crawling in the mud and doing all this stuff that most women would do. And that's where the excitement came, to go do, Dion, we went out and did a Tough Mudder thing. So we out there all covered with mud. Average person, others who I knew him, they wasn't doing that. He just wouldn't do it, so.
I love it. So, if you had to leave the audience, and I've interviewed people not just in the city of Milwaukee, but in Chicago, in Phoenix, in Michigan, and in Atlanta. So we're kind of widespread now. Thank goodness we've come this far. But if you had to leave them with a glimmer of hope, what's one last thing that you could share with our audience, and going back to what we started with our theme of love story? Like, what's your What's your thought when you
I
think of
think
those two words?
my thing is just be yourself. You know, some people come into it with expectations and that kind of leave it at the door. So for me being almost 54, well, things are a little bit different. Now it's important for longevity for the rest of these years. Like I'm not scared or afraid, not afraid she's gonna break my heart, hurt my feelings, you know. So if I were to meet her today, I don't think it would be any different. It's like we'll still go through that process to take a chance. But when you see something out there, man or woman, go after it. You know, as simple as, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Where you from? How you doing? And just break that ice and not be thinking that I'm going to be like, or I'll say, well, she'll be like the other 10 people who I met or whatever it is. Like, you just do whatever you want to do and what you want to do and trust. We weren't fancy restaurants and all that. I was not a fancy restaurant guy. That came in time. Or meet her, I'm ready to go to TGI Friday. She's looking at me like, hey, go have some drinks, have some conversation and get to know each other, because I believe had this not worked out, we still would have been good friends, you know, to each other. You know, say, you know, do what you say and be where you're supposed to be. And then that alleviates all of that, you know, kind of confusion or what may be going on in the back of somebody's mind to basically make her seem like somebody else in my past. You know, just at this time, give it your all. You know, do what you want to do. So that's my advice. Don't be scared. You know, women don't bite, men don't bite. You know, I guess they do, but just don't break the skin. Shoot, your turn.
I would just say, don't be afraid to take a chance on meeting someone, seeing where it goes, and just enjoy the process. If it don't work, then you will know. But if it is, then keep going.
I love that. So thank you again for joining me for this special The Pink Table Talk Goes Red love story. And I appreciate you both and hope to see you this summer in Chicago for all the fun that Chicago has to offer.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you so much.
Soon, come with your dancing shoes, running shoes, biking shoes, swimming shoes, whatever it is. So.
Awesome. All right.